Intro. It is Saturday, April 19th. What's up?
Just gets me going every time. Gets me ready for the stream.
Yeah, that was the first time I've heard it all the way through. That's pretty solid. Shout out.
What's up, y'all?
We got Jay's Plays, Math Wins, Brayton here, and Sigma Squirrel will be joining us around noon, I think. And him and Math Wins will do a little NBA recap. Be good timing right before the first game tips off. We got Chuck in the chat. What's going on? I'll start off just doing a little recap on the SharpMoney bots, some of the issues we're experiencing and some of the improvements we're making. And then you guys can kind of hop in and share your thoughts as well. But a quick little, we'll start with the problems. Just, I think we only have a couple little issues and they're more just like display issues. But we have Pinnacle showing the wrong side of the line once in a while. The bets are still correct, but Pinnacle, we show what odds they have. It's flipping it on the other side of the bet. But it's still finding the correct EV play. So everything should be good there. And then improvements, we just added the Sharp books to the EV bets. So now we used to have the charts up so you could see where the Sharp books were. But now Circa and Bookmaker and Pinnacle are just listed below so we can know where their odds are. So that's good as well. And we are just starting to work on that database that will help us get the graphs back and also display Pinnacle limits. Historical Pinnacle limits so we can see where the limits are moving. And hopefully in the next couple of days, we'll have regular Pinnacle limits up so you can just see what the actual current Pinnacle limits are. So that's going to be great. Anything I missed there, guys?
No, I think you hit all of it. I think that was good.
Yeah, I think that was everything.
All right. One other quick little update. I converted my Closing Dime YouTube to the SharpMoney YouTube because a lot of us are going to start contributing shows to that. Sigma Squirrel has already kicked off 2 before anyone else has done much. He's crushed it. He has the Hold Report, which was just mostly about like sports betting business news. Really cool show. It's going to be a weekly show just about pretty much news in the industry. And then he also did, what was the other one called? Lines and Logic. And that'll be really just like educational. Kind of like the videos that I already do a different style. And he's a really good way of explaining things. So I'm excited to see those. I mean, we're going to be looking at probably content going out on our YouTube channel, like 4 or 5 days a week, like long form content, which is going to be great.
Yeah, it's going to be good. And I know some of you guys tuned in for mine and Sigma's NBA, just kind of slate breakdown yesterday. That's something that we want to do more of. It's just going to kind of depend. There probably won't be a regular schedule for it. We'll probably try and give you as much heads up as possible. We'll do a breakdown as Closing Dime said. Sigma will be on here in about 20 minutes. We'll do a little breakdown for today's slate. But just stay tuned. We'll drop something in the Discord when we're going to do those. But I think, just talking about the slate, injury news, maybe some rotation updates, just things like that to be aware of as you're placing NBA bets.
Yeah, it sounds good. Did I mention he was going to be on at noon to go over some of that stuff as well? I don't even know if I mentioned that.
You did. It's okay. You're not that old. You're losing it a little bit, but
I'm about to turn 30. Actually, it's gonna.
That's it.
Number.
That's it.
over.
That's
It's
it.
Throw in the bag. Call it quits. All right. I am trying to pull up my picket chart. We'll do a little review of how we're doing this month or overall. I think we all have pretty positive news. I know Brayden might have a little bit of different story, but I feel like he's feeling good this week at least. But I'll pull up my picket right now.
Yeah, while you're doing that, Josh asked in chat, when are we kicking out MLB props? Unfortunately, Josh, we're gonna just put a hold on originating MLB pitcher props, and we're going to wait for WNBA to roll around. Just with my time commitments, it's almost impossible for me to do baseball and NBA as we're going through the playoffs. So I know we had talked about doing pitcher Ks. Just more realistically, we're going to hold off and just fire away at WNBA when that rolls around, and that season opens in about a month.
We are for the SharpMoney bot will have pitcher Ks up and pitcher. I think actually all the pitcher outs, things like that as well. We're getting that situated as well. I didn't mention that in the startup, but we're working on a DVIG process there. Basically, I know Jay's Play has done a lot of research here, but I mean, Pinnacle and Bet Online seem like they kind of dictate the market. So it's going to be a pretty heavy weight on both of those books. And we all, like last year, we're kind of talking about how FanDuel was a little sharp on pitcher stuff. And even the industry was talking about it. But man, we found a lot of value on FanDuel. You know, the season's still early, but they seem really beatable on pitcher Ks. Jay, you want to talk about that a little bit more? I know you've been absolutely killing it on that.
Yeah. At this point right now, FanDuel is really like the only book that I can get down on. So I'm pretty sure if anybody is looking for pitcher props, just check out my call out section. I don't do like a morning grind type thing. I just kind of post all day, but I do start around 5 a.m. Central, and I tend to get out about 5 plays at the jump, 2 to 5 plays. I try every morning. Find plays all throughout the day. FanDuel is definitely beatable, especially on their alt lines. I've been finding a lot of success on the plus 120s, the plus 150s. I'm pretty excited to get the pitcher prop bot up. I think it's gonna be something that a lot of people can really benefit on, especially with graphs. All you gotta do is just, take the graph and move it in favor.
Yeah,
Follow its theme.
the graphs are gonna be nice here. Got a couple questions in the chat. Josh was trying to figure out how to upgrade a prop bots. Yeah, just message me on Discord. I'll just take care of it. Private message. Also got a comment. Chuck said I look way older. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but
I don't think it's a compliment.
Chuck, you better watch out. Chuck, you better watch out. You might see your membership fee go up a little bit next month.
Yeah, right.
In a dime like that.
Gotcha. Here's another great comment from Russ here. After one of the recent videos, feels like he's a much better perspective of what Plus EV is. Thanks for the knowledge. Yeah, I mean, we have the whole SharpMoney YouTube channel is loaded for Plus EV stuff. So definitely check that out. A lot of good educational stuff. I mean, there's a lot. I learned a lot of stuff. Pretty much everything I know was learned off of either like Discord chats or just like YouTube channels. There's tons of other good YouTube channels out there. So I'm sure you'll find them.
I think that's something that separates you guys from a lot of other places. It's not just selling a product. Y'all really do enjoy the educational side of teaching newer bettors, how to profit. And so I think y'all do a really good job of that.
Yeah, the community itself, like I said, is one of our biggest assets. Like not even necessarily our education, but once we educate people, they learn different methods and they share those methods, and the community just kind of really works great together, teaching each other different strategies and stuff. So it's definitely important to be a part of like a good community like this.
Yeah, I think talking is definitely the key to finding your success. If I'm down in one location and one market and you're up in one market, maybe I could talk about, see what you're doing, see what bets you're taking,
Exactly. All right, so we'll do a little recap.
Is that
Go ahead.
new guy on the stream? Who was that?
Oh, Jay.
Yeah, who is that guy?
We've been talking.
Whose voice was that?
Yeah, this is Jay's first Saturday. Actually, he hopped in one time, but I don't know if he even was saying anything.
Yeah, he popped in real quick. I just gotta talk a little shit to Jay since he's first time in a long time.
This week has been, this month has been ridiculous for me.
Your overnight MLB plays have been great on picking.
Yeah. Me and Jeff were talking about this before. And actually there was a question in the chat saying like, if I only lay Plus EV plays, and I would say, 99% of my plays are Plus EV. Like I really don't bet based on opinion or anything that doesn't have value to the market. But what me and Jeff have been doing, like his daily double, he kind of has the same strategy that I've used on my MLB parlays, which basically we're finding plays that aren't necessarily positive EV yet, but the market is starting to move in one direction. And I haven't beat the close like that great. I have like slightly beat the close on these plays, but the ROI has been insane. Like if I go, shoot, where's my overnight? Oh, yeah, overnight MLB. I have barely, the expected value is barely anything, but I mean, I've returned, if you go to this year, 75% ROI. These are on $100 bets right now as well. So we're up like 14 units sending these out. I've had a lot of people ask me, what do I think the real ROI will be on these long term? And I'm thinking 3 to 5% is what we'll end up closing at long term, but we're riding this high right now. But your daily doubles have done really well in terms of ROI, haven't they, Jeff? Probably outperforming what you would expect.
Yeah, so it's been it's been over a year now since we started doing the daily doubles, and we're sitting at like a 10% ROI, which is just blows my mind when I think about that, because it's really just monitoring market movement than anything, and we're just playing early trends in the market, and it's been incredibly profitable. So there's definitely, it's interesting. Like I've started dabbling a little bit in the last couple of weeks with, I used to always pick it just a daily double of a couple plays that I liked, but there were always more plays that met the same criteria. So I've started playing everything, and it's been incredibly good for me the last couple of weeks since I started doing that.
How's your CLV on those? Are you like I said, my CLV isn't where I want it to be on those plays, but if it seems like they're hitting.
Let me see. I can pull it up real quick. So it looks like it's solid. We're beating the market by almost 1%. So it's pretty solid.
Yeah, nice. I'll let you guys recap your month. I'll just look at my leagues real quick. I've done pretty well in every single league this month. I guess that's probably why everything's working well. 8% ROI. I mean, MLB is leading the charge, up 2,000. NBA looks good with 1,000. Golf, I hit a nice Rory future, which was huge. NHL, tennis, even I guess early college basketball was good. So yeah, everything's working for me this month. Who wants to kick off their little recap?
Let's see. This month for me, I honestly have given up the NBA except for like 3 morning grind slates, and shout out to those because they did great. So I'm up in NBA. MLB, I really dialed in on the props, which is not technically the best because I can't get down too much. But I will say I'm glad I'm finding success on FanDuel. That's mainly where I wanted to get my success at.
Closer to game time or like not in the morning, I noticed that FanDuel, you can get quite a bit of money down on FanDuel with those pitcher props.
Yeah, you can.
I'm like a 50.
I want to say right now, my closing line value actually has not been good. On this month, I'm sitting at 226 to 210. 4% ROI though, which is where I expect to be.
Yep.
I don't know. My closing line value hasn't been that well in MLB, honestly, but the results they're just speaking different.
Yeah. All right, Brighton, you had a pretty crazy month. Let's hear it.
I sent you mine because I just like to see the dip.
You just sent a DM.
Yeah.
All right, I'll pull it up right here.
Yeah. I fell off a cliff. So yeah, it started off like where I wasn't winning much or losing much beginning of the month, and then last weekend, maybe from like it's about an 8-day stretch where I lost like 6 out of 8 days, and all 6 were like $1,000 plus losses.
What is that, like a 30%?
Yeah, and then so it was down 7K, and then the last like 4 days I've battled back. Really not doing worse in any one market, but I am noticing that I'm kind of bleeding in Caesars right now. So that's really, I think I have a Caesars. I'm down like $2,000 on the month. So I'm really going to start trying to dial in those plays a little bit better and see if that's what's hurting me.
So that was by far the biggest drop you've ever had, probably by a few thousand, I would guess, right?
Man, I had this, and the same thing happened to me in February. Exactly the same.
7K?
7K, and I battled back, and I ended up, it was my first non-profitable month. I ended up down like $1,500 on the month. It was the first time I didn't profit. But this whole year has been up and down. So I'm kind of hoping that I'm just kind of riding through this negative variance, the first 4 months, and then I can just see it kind of skyrocket from here. It's what I expect, at least. I don't think there's anything necessarily wrong with my process. I trust it. So I'm not going to change up much, but I do want to spend some time really dialing in on my Caesar plays because I think I'm bleeding there a little bit.
I'm actually in the same boat as you. On this quarter, as the quarter to date, I profited 51 cents. Sounds like these 4 months haven't been much for me either, but
right.
The last couple of days we're starting to catch a grip, and I
Yeah,
hope
I think so.
This is the start of the uptrend.
And I was doing well with the batting props on FanDuel. I was betting everything over 5%, and it did well. But I just seeing all this variance I'm going through, I kind of dialed back on that. It's just I just didn't want to get a smoother ride. Start just hitting main lines. Some of the pitcher call outs I'll hit. I'm more confident in the pitcher lines. I don't think there's as much variance in pitching and as in batting props. But I love baseball. I love betting baseball, and I think this is the beginning of it, just going up from here.
Yeah. Devin asked in the chat. This is probably a question could answer a minute ago, but he asked what other tools we use to find the line movement. And yeah, I use Pinnacle Odds Dropper and Unabated sometimes as well. But hopefully once we have the database up and we're showing all that stuff, then there won't be a need for any other tool, I think, once SharpMoney figures it out.
And one last thing I'll say too, what I'm starting to see is, my days would pretty much all depend on whether or not I did well in FanDuel, because that's the only one I'm not limited in. But with playoffs coming around for NBA, I'm able to get more money down on DraftKings. So I feel like I can start playing NBA again. And it seems to be working a little bit. So if you're just writing off some books, I think with limit increases, the NBA playoffs might be a place to make a little bit of profit.
Well, yeah, I think the end of NBA gets wonky also with players not wanting to play, or I shouldn't, like Dinwiddie came in the other day at the last 2 minutes. You have such a high risk for stuff like that towards the end of the season. That's why I just left it alone all of April. But I was like you.
I had to stop betting NBA for a little bit, Jay.
Yeah, it gets tough at the end of the season.
Yep.
And yeah, Jeff, you're last up here if you got a story to show about your month.
Sorry, I literally just got back to the screen. I texted you. We had the nightmare moment for any parent who's got an infant. The mid nap poop where you got to change them and try and get them back down. Don't worry, successful.
Wow,
he's back down. We're good.
What a pro!
I know. I do more than just sports betting, baby.
Yeah.
All right. So my April's actually been really good. Started off a little rocky the first week, but the last 10 days or so, really, really profitable for me. A lot of it has to do with, we started off playoffs really hot for player prop betting, morning grind, and then baseball's been really good to me to start the year. And I hope to continue that because last year baseball was a little rocky for me, but good start so far. And, closes have been pretty solid and getting value and kind of everything. All the indicators that you want to see is kind of where we've been at so far this month.
Yeah, it's a strong start to the year for MLB, which usually sometimes we get off to a rough start when new sports start up, but it's been so good. The Sharps must be right on point. Whatever way they're moving the lines right now, it seems like that's what's hitting. So that's huge. I think Sigma's going to get on pretty soon to talk NBA, but we could hop over to the Discord and look at maybe some bot plays. I'd probably pull up Pinnacle Odds Dropper just because it's going to be real similar to what our bot is going to produce going forward. And it'll just be kind of a good teaching point to look at when it comes to limits and line movement. So we'll see if I can find any good plays, but I will hop over. We had some good pings earlier on some of the NBA games. Right now we have hockey. pinging in FanDuel. Let's see if we can find something. Here's Blue Jays team total.
Yeah, I'm taking that on Fanatics right now.
Team total for Blue Jays.
Yeah, over 3.5. I
All
don't
right,
see the trend on it, but I like it. Blue Jays hitters have been hitting fairly well. Logan Gilbert he's okay.
And we have all 3 sharp books here too. So Circa, one of the sharpest books, has -115. Pinnacle has -120, and Bookmakers really kind of weighing this market down at -135 here. So all 3 sharp books are used in this DVIG to find an edge here. We're getting a 1.95% value on this play. So I'm gonna go on ESPN and hit this one.
Yeah, Fanatics just died right after I bet it.
Oh, really? So we'll see if ESPN's still holding it. But definitely a good play if Fanatics already moved off that line.
Yeah, I'm not going to ping that too much.
Let's see. So Blue Jays over 3.5. Game's on at 3 Eastern time.
Sometimes I also just take bets because I'm like, hey, it's the afternoon. I want some action,
Well,
I
yeah,
gotta get
if you're
something
going to
going
do
on.
that, you might as well take EV bets, right? That's
That's
how I
right.
view it sometimes. Like if I see a Sox EV ping come up, like Red Sox, I'm just probably going to bet it without really looking at where the market's going.
That's how I was with the Pelicans until everything started losing.
Yeah, right. You don't want to be a bet on the Pelicans. All right, this is still available on ESPN. Blue Jays over 3.5 team
You
total.
took it as a straight on ESPN? I haven't taken many bets as a straight on ESPN, honestly. Probably 0. I've only taken promos there, but I've been dabbling a little bit, taking 2-leg parlays.
What, just trying to avoid limits a little bit, or?
Yeah, I'm trying to dodge them. I got promo banned, but I have no limits. So I'm trying to keep it alive.
My limits are not too. I can get like $100 off on some like the mainline spreads or totals on ESPN. So here we'll look at this one. This is a Canby book. So I'm going to pull up the Pinnacle Odds Dropper just to kind of give you guys my breakdown of how I'd view this play. So let me pull up this event first. So this is the Yankees. And the play is, so we're looking for Yankees -1.5.
What book do you see that on?
It's on Bally or any of the Canby books.
Actually, I'll try Bet Rivers, see if they let me get something.
Cool. So I'm going to share this play. So can I pop this up? Nope.
Yankees -1.5.
Yeah, this chart's going to be small to see, but this play was flagged in our Discord at +188. And if we go over to the Pinnacle Odds Dropper website, which tracks the Pinnacle odds movement and their limit movement, just like we will hopefully have soon, you see that Pinnacle is priced at 186, and they've been priced all the way down to about 169. And on Pinnacle, the limits right now are 9K. And this has moved since the limits went up, it's moved from 170 down to 169. So not a huge movement, but basically it's telling me that people are betting $9,000 on the Yankees -1.5 at like +170 odds. And if we can get it at 188, then it's clear value if sharp bettors are betting it down.
Yeah.
That's how I like to view it. You like to see the green line here going down and the limits going up. But once we have that in our own Discord, there'll be a lot of education on that. So I'll place this bet on my phone, see what I can actually get down. But Bally has basically limited me down to pennies. They're pretty much a useless book to me now.
Hey, Russ, how do you research tennis or soccer? Just watching the sports. Honestly, here, most of the guys here don't watch anything that they bet. We're just,
Reading
we're reading the markets. We definitely aren't looking at the games that we're watching or having our own opinions. Sometimes I mention it like on that Blue Jays prop, but that's because as I go over the hitters, I kind of evaluate the entire market, almost every player for how they've been playing. So I can kind of get a feel. If you have hot hitters on a team, that team has an easier chance to do better. So I just,
we basically, I think it's good to not know too much about the sport because you don't want your opinion to influence like your bets.
Yeah.
Basically, our assumption as plus EV bettors is that the market is smarter than us. It's more efficient than us. So we can just follow what the market is doing. We don't have to put the time and research into these sporting events to know which side is the right side to bet. So yeah, it's like I have, like I said, we were talking before the stream, like none of us even know sports like that great anymore. I used to follow it so like I knew everything going on in every single league, and now since I've started getting into profitable sports betting, all my time is spent finding plays before the game start, and then I just ignore the events after they start, and it's just next day do the same thing.
I like the way Math kind of explained it a few weeks ago. He's just trading numbers. That's it.
It's all numbers.
Yep.
Doesn't matter who's on the other end.
Still waiting on the cornhole bot. You know, the small bot used to have some crazy markets. I wouldn't be surprised if something popped up.
Here's
Devin, sorry. Go ahead.
Good. Well, one just jumped in on DraftKings here, so I'm going to look at it.
Yeah, let me check that out.
Since it's for the game starting in an hour. It's
Hey, Devin, I was just curious of your closing line value on how if you're grabbing these props early in the morning. Are you still beating the close pretty good? I've laid off the NBA props in the morning, but I think I will start picking them back up.
Yeah. This one for the Bucks Pacers. This is kind of one that I would. The market's been up and down. Recent movements have been heading up, so more favoring. Actually, or was this the over, the under? Oh, it is the over. Sorry, I have the wrong side pulled up. All right, so this is actually gonna be a really good bet.
So yeah, that's a good one. You
yeah, market has gone from plus 101 odds down to minus 130. That's a 30-cent move in the past couple hours. Minus 130 is the best price on Pinnacle, and we can get this at minus 110 on DraftKings. So let's see what we can get. Over 24.5 minus 110. They might have removed this. Yeah, they bumped the line to over 225.5. So good play, just a little short, a little late on it.
Where's Sigma at? He's coming soon, huh? Missing the time. Let me see. Dude,
What's up, squad?
There he is.
Up,
we did this last time. Last time we did a live stream player prop call out. We smashed it. So I got another one for you guys.
You got one? Right. What you got?
On FanDuel, if you would like, go ahead and hit Norm Powell over 17.5 points at minus 113. Market's been moving towards the over. We actually locked this in on the morning grind at minus 106, but I still really like it at minus 113. So if you missed the morning grind, hop on now.
And just for the people that might not know who this guy plays for, if you could just give us a team name.
Clippers.
Can you tell us, Robbie, who this guy plays for? He is on the Clippers. Norman Powell.
I like that pick.
Norman Powell was a staple of our morning grind pretty much all season. And Sigma likes it, so we're in a good spot then.
I like that pick. Yeah, Math. I've got Norman Powell, 36-ish, 36 and a quarter, 36 and a half minutes, median points, somewhere 18 and a quarter, 18 and a half.
Nice.
That's my guy. There we go.
It's Norman Powell.
Robbie, you got any?
Half minus 113.
That's the one.
Also...
That's it. Everyone else is juiced 10, 15 cents off that number. So FanDuel's giving you a sale here.
226 max bet. Not too bad.
Let's see how quick we can move that minus 113.
I know, right? If everyone hits it.
Yeah, I have a bet also. We're going to go Jose Berrios for the Blue Jays under 5.5 strikeouts at minus 128 on FanDuel. 1 unit.
Wow.
FanDuel is way behind. Everybody's minus 150 or worse.
Yeah, Chuck in chat's looking for the cornhole bot. You guys, we got sanctioned cornhole betting coming up. So if you thought player props were rough on your accounts, go ahead and hammer some cornhole, and we'll see you at the kiosk.
Yeah, we'll be having to get those down at the kiosk. We were actually talking about we should have UFC is one of the markets that we'll probably be adding pretty soon, which would be nice, but we'll give some updates on that later. So Jeff and Adam, do you guys want to break down the NBA slate a little bit? I'm not going to contribute to this conversation at all. So,
you're not going to lead us through this one?
I cannot.
Are you ready, Sigma? You ready to?
Yeah,
to
let's
dive
do
in
it.
here?
I mean, I haven't.
Preview?
I haven't shipped the slate yet. I'm too close to your, to your release for this first game. But we can talk it. I'll tell you where I'm leaning. That's for sure.
Yeah, let's start Indiana, Milwaukee then. And my first question, and Sigma or anybody else, are you surprised Indiana's the favorite in this series? Or I guess at least, they're big favorites in this first game. I haven't looked at the series, but I was kind of surprised to see them at -6.5 for this first game.
I was too, with Damian Lillard coming back.
So Lillard won't play today, but he'll be back potentially game 3 or 4. Yeah, okay, he's not playing.
I haven't kept up with it too much.
Yeah, and I'm surprised this morning the money, has moved the numbers toward the Pacers actually.
Yeah.
Here in the morning. I'm with you. I like the Bucks for a possession here. I mean, I don't think. I mean, what they're basically saying is the Pacers are going to be able to run, and I mean, without Lillard, sure, that makes plenty of sense, but if we're getting the Bucks at 5.5 or 6, books are saying Lillard's worth 5 points. I don't think so. I mean, Indiana really doesn't have a home court advantage. And, this is basically a divisional, crosstown game. And, for me, this line is Pacers, maybe pick them, maybe pick them to, half a point. So, is Lillard worth 5 points? I don't think so. I mean, LeBron is typically worth 4, and the Bucks still have the best player on the floor in Giannis. Well, so I don't know.
Yeah,
that's my biggest thing is like when it comes to playoffs, I think having the best player on the floor means so much over regular season games. Like having Giannis is the X factor in this series to me. I think, if you look at the supporting cast, the role players, like the Pacers have a lot of very good players, but they don't have that elite superstar. Like I don't consider Halliburton to be in that elite superstar category. Really, really good player. Don't get me wrong, but he's not in the same category as Giannis.
I agree.
Agree completely. I mean, you got to look at what the Bucks have been doing. I mean, they lost Lillard, the middle of March, and when he was out, and this includes 3 Giannis games where he was scratched, they covered 11-3. I mean,
yeah.
I don't see it. I mean, Indiana is 28th in points allowed in the paint and rebound rate. And here comes Giannis dominating both areas. And I think the game is, I take the Bucks for 6 right now. I mean, I'm looking at the board. Your best number is you can get 6 at 6.5 at Novig for -114. Or there's a +103 sitting at ProfitX, Bucks +6. I like both those bets.
So I get a question for, it could be both for Jeff and Adam here, but you mentioned, Adam, that the market was kind of steaming towards the Pacers, and someone like myself, like I already got a bet in this morning, which it looks good. I had Pacers money line -205, and a lot of the market is up to like -240 now. But you see the market moving that direction, but you have an opinion on the other side. Are you still betting with your opinion, or are you is that like sometimes you might lay off of it because the market doesn't agree with your opinion there?
Well, it's a function of the price I can get it at. I mean, I like situations where I've got a strong opinion. In my opinion, it may be contrary to where the market's moving. I mean, you got to respect the market, particularly in playoff NBA. I'm not smarter than the rest of the world. by any stretch. But a 3-possession spread, if I can get it on this game, I mean,
Yeah.
I said the same thing yesterday, and look at what Dallas did. I don't know. I was wrong, dead wrong. Dallas looked bad. They started off bad and played bad. It was just bad. I still like the Bucks here. I like taking those points. That's the side I would be on.
Gotcha. So one thing that I would probably say for people to do, if they're ever in a situation where, so they do have an opinion on one side, check the market. And let's just say, like right now, it does seem like it's going towards the Pacers. So if you wait closer to game time to bet your decision on the Bucks or bet your opinion on the Bucks, you might get a better price than now, just assuming that the market is going to continue that direction. But if I ever want, like I very rarely do this, like if I want to bet something with my own opinion or just a play that I, want to have money on just for fun, then I'd always do check the market trends. And if the trend is heading my direction, I'll bet it right then because I don't want a worse price later. But if the market is going the opposite way, I'll just wait closer to game time to place that bet. Just something I like to do. Like if I'm going to a Pats game and want to put some money on it, I'll check the market, which way it's going, just so I know that I can at least get the best price possible.
Yeah, I'd say, the thing with me is that I modeled out total spreads during the season. I don't have a number on this game. I didn't do totals and spreads for the playoffs. But when I kind of said Indiana favorite, I guess my gut tells me I like Milwaukee in this one. With you, Dime, I have a Pacers play in this one. I got them at -4.5. So my money is on the Pacers, just gut feeling and watching them play all season. My money's on the Pacers. My gut says Bucks probably, for a series standpoint, give me Bucks in 6 or 7.
Yeah. But like I said, if you got the Pacers at -4.5, that's probably a great play, but Bucks at 6 could also be a great play. There can be value on both sides, especially if it's moving. So each line or you can be on both sides of a bet and have a good number on both sides. So it depends on what time you get in on the market, where it goes.
All right, Adam. Denver Clippers. Let's hop to the second game of the day. My first question for this one is, are we going to see Kawhi play 40-plus minutes a night for the entire series? Because down the stretch here, they've really been pushing their rotation. James Harden's been playing 40 minutes a night. Kawhi's been playing 40 minutes a night. Zubac and Powell have been playing high 30s now that Powell's back from injury. Is this the trend we're going to see the whole series?
I think the answer is yes. I think you're going to see Harden at 41. I think you see Kawhi at 40. You're going to see Powell and Zubac, mid-high 30s. I mean, this team rides their starters, and they're going to do it, particularly in a game one. I mean, they're going to win. They want to win this game. I mean, you just got to take game one. I think they push it. I think you see heavy minutes, and in this game, on that front, you see Hart on the floor all night. This is him at his best situation. I like him on over points. I think if I'm looking at his lines now, if you guys want to pull up Harden's points total, he was at 22.5 the last time I looked.
Yeah, market's sitting about 22.5. You can find some 21.5s. But kind of that 21, 22 is where the market's at right now.
21.5 on FanDuel, but it's juiced -122.
Yeah, there's a 21.5 at DraftKings right now, sitting -115. That is edge. That's a bet I'd take.
Yeah, my lean would definitely be on the over there. And this is where I love talking shop with Sigma, because we do both run our own models. So our models don't produce the same exact numbers. Like I have a lean towards the over. Is my model showing an edge big enough to where I would fire? Probably not. But the fact that I'm leaning over and Sigma says he's betting over makes me way more confident in that than if I'm leaning over and Sigma says no play, or Sigma says I like the under. So having both of our models kind of aligned towards the over gives me a lot more confidence there.
Yeah, directionally we're on the same page. Now that's not that 21.5 at 15 cents I just called out is not a huge edge. It's probably 3-4%, but it's, if you're looking for volume, that's a play
Fair.
where you're on the correct side of a bet.
So taking that into account, where do you see this series going? Me personally, I think this one has to go 7. And I find it, I think it really comes down to, I think a linchpin is Kawhi's health. I'm trying to remember the last time he played an entire series that went 7 games, and he played in all 7 games. Kind of coming back to the same thing. It's hard for me to bet against the team that has the best player in the world on their team. I think I like Denver in 7 here, but I think it could go either way.
Yeah, this one for me is uncertain. It's going to come down. I think you do see a game 7 in this series, and you're going to have two teams, just hurling at each other, and it's going to be great. It's going to be a great matchup.
All right, this one hits close to home for me. As you guys know, I'm a diehard Pistons fan. We got the Pistons and the Knicks up next. Let me throw it out there. Do the Pistons have the best player on the floor this series?
They probably do. We talking about Cade?
Yes, we are talking about Cade.
Just want to be sure. Just want to check. I feel like that's your opinion. I don't know. I think he's going to go off in this game. I think he can take him over 30 points. He had over 30 points 23 times. 2 of those games were against New York. 4 of his last 6 against the Knicks. He's over 30. He's 31 points per game against the Knicks, and it's the most against any single opponent that he's played. So, if he has a night, it's going to be a good day for Detroit.
Yeah, I think what scares me the most is, the Pistons have had the Knicks number this season. I think they took 3 games out of 4 against them during the regular season. What scares me the most is I have a feeling the Knicks are going to run multiple big defenders at Cade and try and make somebody else beat them. And my fear is that the Pistons don't have that solidified number 2 guy who can really create if they remove Cade from the game. Because I think you're going to see they can throw Bridges, they can run Anobi, they can run Josh Hart, they can run big, long defenders at Cade, and more than one of them to double him to get the ball out of his hands. That's what scares me the most. We'll kind of see how it plays out. That's what I love about the playoffs is we'll see what the strategy is from the Knicks.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that at all. I think look, I think given I think spotting Detroit 7.5 points is wild. I think that's too many. I just think it's too many.
I agree.
And just looking at where things are moving, the consensus numbers move from 7 to 7.5 across the board as of about 10 minutes ago. So the line's moving toward the Knicks. Again, this would be one where I'd be inclined to take the contrary play to the steam right now.
So what do you think, Sigma? Where do you see this series going?
You're not gonna like my answer. I think Detroit's lack of playoff experience is gonna bite them in the ass in Game 5 or Game 6. My prediction they dump a game or two because they fail to control the final 5 minutes of the fourth quarter. That's what I think. I think that's what you see. I think you see some playoff mistakes made.
I agree. I agree. I think this one is closer than what the market tells you, but I think I would take Knicks in 6. I think the Pistons get 2 in the series, but ultimately I think this is really just a figure out what your young guys can and can't do in the playoffs. I'm really curious to see if Jalen Duren can guard Cat in a series. He's struggled with stretch bigs. I think that's where Detroit really gains from this. This is a figure out where we're actually at, and next year's where you can really push the pedal in terms of winning a playoff series.
Yeah, Detroit's covered 6 of the last 10 heads up with New York. I think these young guns they're slinging. I think the Knicks win this game, but I don't think it's a 7.5 point deficit.
Agreed. And that brings us to the nightcap tonight. We got the Timberwolves and the Lakers. I love Rudy Gobert in this series. Am I crazy to think that he is going to have a huge series? Can he stay on the floor if the Lakers go small, which they have been a lot since the AD Luka trade? Call me crazy, or are you with me here, Sigma? Rudy Gobert,
yeah,
series.
I'm so pumped for this game, man. This one I'm gonna pay a lot of attention to. This whole this argument of the Lakers are small. Man, I don't think the Lakers can be called small anymore. I mean, they play faster, but they're not small. I mean, Doncic, what, 230? Austin Reeves is 6'5". You got, Reeves, Doncic, LeBron on the floor. What's Gobert going to do? I don't know. If I'm Minnesota, I don't try to go small to small. You got to play with your strength. And I think Gobert's going to dominate the rim. I think you just leave him in the paint, dump him the ball. I think they have a big night. I don't think you try to match up on the Lakers' terms. You got to make them play to yours. And I think Gobert's X factor tonight.
I agree with you. I think, and if you look at the track record for the Timberwolves this year, they have never really sat Rudy. They've always said, like, this is our guy, and he is such a huge asset to us in terms of rim protection on the defensive end that even when other teams go small, he's still there, and he's a staple of what they want to do. So I think you're right. In terms of, I guess when I say the Lakers go small, I guess I think of, like, who guards Gobert? Like, Hayes will play 15, 16 minutes a night. I don't think they really push him above that. When he's not on the floor, who's guarding him?
Yeah, I just don't think you can't go down and take Rudy off the floor because, you look at the rebounding stats and defense this year, the Timberwolves lose when Gobert's on the bench. The Wolves are, check this. He's 7.8 points per 100 better on defense this season when Rudy Gobert is on the floor. But you can't just make the assumption that he's going to stay in and overpower the Lakers because, again, they're not small. When Hayes goes to the bench, and you got Hachimura 6'8", they lose some height, but they're still big. You got LeBron, Hachimura, Finney-Smith. Jared Vanderbilt has 9-foot-long arms. These guys are not small. They take up a lot of space, and they can snag rebounds. They can be overwhelming. They give up some height, but they can be overwhelming. But I think if I'm Minnesota, you got to pay attention to when Gobert comes out, and you see Randall Reed, and Finch, and I think those two got to step up, when Gobert's taking rest. But I don't know. I think Gobert, this is his moment to overcome all the shit he took last year in the playoffs. Let's just say that. Fair.
All right, let's close out a little NBA talk with this. Yesterday, you loved Kyle Anderson. Did he get to 3? He was at 2 for a long time.
Oh yeah, well, this is what I posted in our VIP chat. I watched that man sit with 2 assists for half a game. He did not get a third, and there's always a little added pressure when you call it out on the program. And I'm sitting with 2 going, yeah, man, we smoked this. But in order to get assists, you have to score points. And it's just good to score points yesterday. So, he had plenty of opportunities. He dished dimes, and we just didn't get buckets. And, that one didn't go our way.
Okay, so close us out with this then. It doesn't necessarily have to be a play, but who are you watching today? Who's catching your eye? Who do you like in certain situations today?
All right,
give us one player.
All right, hold up. Let me get prepared here.
What's up, King? How you doing today?
Meantime, I got this play pull up on Discord. I'm going to grab this.
Great. Yeah.
Yeah,
Cover
give-
me for 30 seconds while I load this model up here. Hold on.
I'm hitting Rays
grab that too.
over 4.5 team total plus 114. So you get all three sharp books here. It's a team total, so not a huge market.
Yeah, but Carrasco can give up a lot of contact. The Rays
Yeah.
have been hot. I'm liking this.
It's solid. It's 14 cents better than the circle line. Actually 19 cents better than bookmaker. So worth a shot. And it cleared.
Dime, I thought you were going to give us who you love today in the NBA slate.
I'm just waiting for the Celtics game. It really doesn't matter what happens with the rest of the series and games. I mean, the Celtics are probably just going to walk through it all. So
Yeah, especially the first round.
analytics that you guys are you put a lot of time into this, but in reality, you don't need to know much to know the Celtics are just steamrolling the whole thing.
Well, if we're
Magic
talking
and
from
4.
no way.
All right. The on Minnesota and the Lakers, what player spots do I like? I'm looking at these lines right now, and they've been pounded to correct numbers is how I would describe it.
It doesn't even have to be Minnesota, LA. I was just asking any game if there's a spot you like from somebody.
Well, let me start in Minnesota. Market's got Mike Conley at 13.5 PRA. If you can grab, there's a 5-cent line at Fanatics. Caesars has it 6 cents. DraftKings has it 5. I think you pick up a little bit of edge there. But on all the matchups today, I don't love Beef Stew's PRA total right now. I think it's a little high at 11.5. I think that median should be a couple clicks below that.
So my number has him lower too. What worries me about Beef Stew is if Duran has issues covering Cat, Stew's going to get extended run.
Yeah.
So if we see a normal
have
rotation, we see normal rotation. I think that is high. I agree with you. What worries me is playoff time if they give Stu more run because of the stretch big.
Yeah, I think Cat is leaning over on his PRA total. The market's anywhere from 38.5 at minus 105 at ESPN right now. Playing all the way up. Penny has that PRA total for Cat at 37.5, juiced to 170 right now. So if you can pick up a 37.5 cheap, right now you can get it if these
minus 120 at Hard Rock.
That's what I'm looking at. If you can bet more than 3 cents at Hard Rock, take it. And then MGM, you got the same line at both. So pick, you hammer them both for your limits and ride it. That's another one I like.
You're saying Edwards over 37.5?
Towns.
Oh, no.
For Adam and Jeff, I was just curious. Do y'all have anybody? I know y'all probably don't take the promos, but DraftKings has a king of the playoffs who scores
about to
most
ask the
points
same,
in
Jay.
round one. I was going to ask if you guys have anybody stat-wise that you think can excel. I think maybe Cat could.
Jay, give me a quick rundown of king of the promo. I haven't looked at it, to be completely honest.
It's a first round points leader
for the entire first round.
Yeah, you can bet any player prop, and then that's your qualifying token, and then it's
okay. I think so. First off, I would say
it's a long
you want a series that's going to go 7. Yep. So I think you're looking at a high scoring series that's going to go 7. Denver, LA sticks out to me.
That's right. Sticks out to me.
Probably the series I'm targeting.
I think James Harden. My guy needs him one. That's a dark horse.
Especially with these promos, you want to try to find a dark horse to where you're sharing a bigger stake in that $2 million. You don't want to, Luka. Everyone.
Yeah, we got a comment right now. Comment in the chat. Got to be a Luka prop.
I know Luka's gonna be so common.
Yep.
And which I think it could be Luka, but I think the Lakers are going to be playing as a team, which that's good for him in totals of points, rebounds, assists. But excelling just scoring, I don't know if it's going to be Luka. I do know James Harden has potential to drop 40 every night, though. He's going to be on the court, like y'all mentioned earlier in the
Well, I'll give you
video.
my Luka angle, Jay. I got I don't like Luka's points right now. I don't think there's any edge in that market. I don't like his assists. I don't think there's any edge in that market. I like his PRA because I like where the market has his rebounds right now. His rebounds are, the total across the market's 8.5. FanDuel has him at minus 108. It's the best price in the market. I think he's more like a 9.5 median rebound line, which, you could take his rebounds and his PRA, and if he comes in at projection for points and assists and overperforms on Reeves, you got two good bets there. And I think that rebound over is a pretty solid edge. That's a bet I will probably ship if it's around.
Yeah.
So here's my take on your promo. I think Jokic is probably your highest percent played player. I think he's
highest
probably number
volume.
one, just because I have him as the second highest scoring player on the entire first round, and that series I would be shocked if it doesn't go 7.
Yeah.
If you're looking for, I think Harden has the opportunity, but I think if you're looking for somebody in that series not named Jokic, I honestly think it's Kawhi. I think Kawhi is a playoff beast. He's actually the leading scorer for that team when he plays.
Yeah.
Harden's numbers are inflated because of the amount of time that Kawhi missed. When Kawhi was out, it was the Harden and Norman Powell show. But with Harden or with Kawhi on the floor, Harden's usage goes way down.
Mm-hmm.
So I think if you're looking for a lower owned player, I think probably Jokic and Doncic are going to be your two highest owned players. I might go Kawhi.
Kawhi, huh? I just love James Harden explosiveness, but this also isn't 2019 anymore.
And Jay, if Kawhi wasn't on the floor, I'd be right there with you. But I'm telling you, his usage drops about 10% when Kawhi's on the floor.
I could see Kawhi. Yeah, I haven't used it yet. I probably will go. I could see Kawhi because, well, it's probably better for me because I am limited there. So I'd like the most of this $2 million I could.
If you really want a dark horse, and you're going to call me a homer, but who's going to score besides Cade on the Pistons? If he can make that series go 7, he's going to have to score 35 and 8.
It's going to be just Cade.
That's a super dark horse play. I wouldn't play that because I don't think that series even goes 7. But that's kind of my thoughts on the whole promo.
But that's what I want, a super dark horse. If I win, I want.
If you want a super dark horse, go Cade.
All right.
And I don't even know if he'd be a super dark horse because he is the best player on the team by far. Yeah. But I don't think a lot of people see that series going deep. And if it does go deep, it's because he's going nuts.
I'm going to go ahead and take mine for Kawhi. Let's go, Kawhi. Go ahead and score. I'm going to put it on this prop for 30 plus.
Yeah, James, I agree with you. The problem with going Luka or Jokic is going to be everybody's on those two.
FanDuel has the similar thing for, I think, the most threes today. Down 10 score.
Math, how do you feel about Michael's comment that Austin Reeves sneaking in? What do you like? You like Reeves for anything? I mean, he's either the best player on the floor or he's invisible.
Yeah, I think he's going to be low owned. I mean, he's in my top 10, 12 players in terms of points scored. He's in my top 11. He's my 11th highest scorer. I also feel like we're going to see LeBron kind of push it in the playoffs, which could decrease a little Austin Reeves usage. But I wouldn't fault you if you're looking for a super small owned player in Austin Reeves. The ownership's going to be low on him.
Yep.
You never know.
We've done well on Reeves this season. He's been profitable for us.
Jeff, I got two things. So I'm locked in on Cade for King of the Playoff. Second thing, will we see sad Detroit Lions fan make a playoff TV appearance at the Pistons game?
You know, you might see a sad Lions fan's brother make a TV appearance. I do not plan to be at any of the games. You will not get a sad Math wins photo on national TV from me. I had
Danny,
enough
we're
sad
still live.
moments.
We're streaming, bud.
Yeah, this is live. Ask questions if you got them. Anything plus EV related or NBA playoffs, obviously. I wanted to point out that James Harden play that you guys called out earlier. We go to that -115. Best price on the board is -125. So already
What's up? What's what I'm talking about.
Hell yeah. Dime, take me through this downtown jackpot. What are we looking for?
I put a bet on it without reading it too much, and I really haven't read too much, but I think we're looking for player to hit the most threes
Yeah.
on April 19th and the 20th. So I think maybe you can
So
pick
today and tomorrow.
Yeah, today and tomorrow.
One thing that you can do
Three.
here is you can build a 2-leg parlay so that both of your players, or a 3-leg parlay if it's a same game parlay, so you can get more people in your jackpot promotion here. So I played this dumb and just picked one person, but I would put up a same game parlay or a regular parlay with at least 2 or 3 guys, give you a better chance of hitting. But yeah,
So I don't have tomorrow. I don't have tomorrow modeled out yet. Obvious high 3-point make on the board today is Anthony Edwards.
Yeah, for sure.
Beasley for the Pistons was also top 3 in the league and made threes with Edwards and Steph Curry. He's probably going to be up there in ownership.
How's New York's defense on the threes? Are they good perimeter defenders?
Depends who's guarding him. I wouldn't be super scared off by that. I'm trying to look and see if there's a dark horse that I could see just going off today. Sigma, you got any input on this?
I mean, it's been said. Ant would be my pick.
Yeah.
Yeah, Anthony.
I could see
18 times.
Yeah, I could. If you're looking, I think Ant's going to be the highest owned player for sure.
For sure.
If you're looking for lower ownership, I could see Halliburton or Doncic. I think those are my next 2 guys on the board. They're not going to be
Tyrese
low ownership.
for sure. I think Tyrese
they're not going to be low ownership, but
Tyrese is just so bad. Tyrese
is going to have to score. Like he's the type of player too that I feel like when the moment's the biggest, he steps up. So I could see Tyrese getting loose for 4 or 5, 6 made threes in a single game.
Yeah,
I guess that's what you're kind of looking for, right? You're looking for upside.
Yeah, who's going to overperform? I mean, you can see Halliburton have a 6 or 7 3-point night, easy.
Mm-hmm. I could see Beasley hitting 6 threes. Like somebody like I don't know if I could really see like some of the other top guys on here are like Austin Reeves is on here. Do I think Reeves is going to hit 5 threes? Like not really.
No. I'm going.
You're looking for those high ceiling guys.
That's right. Who's gonna have the most attempts? Yeah, Austin. I agree. Tyrese will either have one. He'll either go 1 in 10 or 7 in 10.
Yeah, like tomorrow, you've got Golden State playing. You could see Steph Curry go nuts. If you're looking for a super dark horse, Duncan Robinson for the Heat. Like if he gets hot, Spoelstra plays him a lot. He hasn't been playing. He's been playing about 20 minutes a game. So you're definitely high risk, high reward there. But he's somebody that I could see hitting 6 threes in a game. So that's kind of my
Mitchell
thoughts.
May be high. Oh, that's a 12-point spread. That's kind of high. I'd go for the underdog. I think today's games are better. I might go Luka.
Sigma, when are you sending your slate out?
Yeah, I posted in VIP a little bit ago. I'm skipping game 1 because Math had the slate, and it's 4 hours between the two. I'm not going to know more than he knows, and it's just too close. We shut this down. I'll take a look probably in the next 45 minutes.
Nice.
Hey, we got a question from Danny on settings. And so, this is one of my favorite things to talk about, with members and viewers. And, regardless of whatever product you're using, if you're looking at our bots or you're using an app where you can have guidelines in general, these rules have served me well. But it's all about your personal preference. I don't like to take a bunch of long shot dog bets. I don't like to have a 1-to-3 win-loss ratio. It gives me heartburn. It's just not how I came up. And I've always, tried to bet at the number, not really, on the big outlier alts. So that said, Danny, my settings, generally, I want to bet between the 50-cent mark. Minus 150 to plus 150 is usually where I'm living. I want to see market width on the games has got to be 20, 25 cents, 30 max. I want to see, for player props, I want to see a market width under 40 cents. The VIG's higher on their player props. Anything over 40, you don't know what your edge really is, just because it's just too wide. So net, if I'm playing a half or a side or total, anything from 1% to 1.7, 1.8%, that's about the best you're going to get. If you're betting sides and totals, your strategy, in my opinion, has got to be you're trying to get just more handle down on smaller edges to make your money. On player props, if it's less than 4%, I'm generally going to pass, unless I see line movement where clearly I know it's going to land way high, much higher than that 4 or 5% minimum. So that's the way I think about it. I'll throw it back to you guys.
I'll go. So I was always plus 150 and under range. I'm going to go with like 200, but I'll play plus 200 now. That's about my peak of range. Like I said, right now, where I'm so limited on every book, I have to focus on the low EV plays. So I'm only betting pretty much main lines for the most part. And I'll bet under 1% if the market's moving the right direction, and it's treated me very well. James had a good question here, talking about market width and some differing opinions. And I was thinking about this when you were speaking, Adam, because I've been known to say in the past that market width can be irrelevant, but it's more based on the options of other filters. So like your market width for, let's just say, a money line, where it's like, let's just say it's minus 200 on one side and plus 170 on the other, like that's a 30 market width, but there's such a low VIG there. So once the odds get longer, the width also gets longer, but that doesn't mean there's more VIG in there. So I always thought market width was sometimes a useless stat when you're going past like the plus 150, plus 200 range, if that makes sense. I have a video breaking it down, but basically I found plays that have market widths of like 70 that have lower VIG in that market than market widths of like 30. Just
that makes sense. Yeah. And you're generally shopping different products than I am, it sounds like, and you're not wrong to say that market width can be less relevant, when your odds are longer, because the value of a cent is less, the longer your odds go. That absolutely makes sense. You gotta look at the hold percent on a play, and there's no hard and fast rules. What you don't want to do is take these full dollar widths on these obscure player props. I mean, those things are just designed to hoover up bankroll and spit you out.
Exactly. So I always say if you already have your filter settings on like plus 150 and lower, then market width can be helpful to weed out some of those other ones. But if you're going to play over plus 150, then you should be probably looking at VIG percentage instead of market width, because you're going to miss money line plays that are high market widths in the plus 200 range, but they're still the books are still confident in it because they have low VIG. So it just depends on how you use it. But I think people might weight market width a little too much or talk about it a little bit too broadly.
I wanted to touch back on Danny real quick. One thing I just wanted to point out, you said you're on outlier. I wanted to point out that it really also matters the book that you're devigging to. So like a 2% edge to Pinnacle is playable, but I would never play an edge to ESPN bet,
Exactly.
It's also very important. I think if you could do the main sharps we use are Pinnacle, Bookmaker, and Circa, you know, if you have access to them. But those would be the best options.
Yep, definitely a good starting point, especially for the main lines. All right, you guys have anything else to add or any more questions out here?
I don't think I have anything. Ready for these lunchtime games to start up. I got a lot of props out there today, honestly.
Yeah, how about it? We're building outdoor patio furniture in the rain. It's 45 degrees here and raining, and I thought it'd be a very different weekend, but we got something going on at the house the next weekend, and people need a place to sit. So I'm on furniture detail.
There you go.
Adam, that's why you have kids. Make your kids build it.
Yeah, well, my oldest has been co-opted. He's going to be turning screws. You know, you buy this shit from overseas, at least, you know, well, before tariffs hit, you know, it shows up in these flat pack boxes and you open it up and you're like, am I building a robot? I thought I bought a picnic table, man. Like, what the hell is this thing? So anyway, it's either be a robot or a picnic table. So that's what I'm ending up with today. But I was saying, shameless plug for SharpMoney Network. We've got a lot of new content out for folks who are listening. I'm going to put it in comments right now. If you have not checked out the SharpMoney YouTube channel, you know, Dime took his sizable personal audience, has converted it to SharpMoney, and we're all posting a bunch of new content there. So if you haven't checked that out, throw a subscribe and click that bell and just make sure you know when we post stuff, because you know we're about helping you get better, and so we're going to be posting things on that front. That's what I got.
Perfect. All right, I think that's it then. Good luck, everyone. Thanks for watching. Tons of games on today, so hopefully we win some money. All right, talk to you guys next time.